So, first thing I'll say is like, don't waste your time being angry because I spend a lot of my time in my youth being very mad. Mad at the world, thinking that it failed me. Mad at my mom, mad at my dad. You know, when you're a fucking teenager, I hate my mom.
They call it teenage
hate my dad. Yeah, fucking Nirvana and shit. But anyways, you know, I had to like realize that I had to let go of that shit. And I can remember one specific moment that helped me realize that it was time to go in a new direction. And Ray knows this story all too well. Where one day we ordered a pizza, and we were at Ray's house, and we're waiting on this fucking pizza, and it's like 2 hours go by. 2 hours, I think it's like 2 hours go by, no sign of the pizza. We call, we don't get anybody, so we decide we're gonna walk to the pizza store and find out what's going on with this pizza, right? We walk there. It probably wasn't 2 hours. I'm definitely exaggerating, but it was 2 hours. I'm wrong. So yeah, like 2 hours. We walk there. That probably takes like another 40 minutes, right? Look, Ray, I'm trying to sell a story here, okay? So if you could just not interrupt me and we gotta communicate the pain that we're.
Expressions in the background.
I know. That's the best part. But yeah, long story. Look, it took a long fucking time to get to the Domino's. That's what I'll say. We walk there. And, you know, first, and the funny part, why the story is so hilarious, is because it begins with me stopping Ray from getting angry. Where he walks up to the woman, he asks her a question, and this bitch fucking walks away from him like he does not exist as he's talking to her. Like he was a gust of wind. And, you know, he lost it. Because when he's drunk, and that's some peak disrespect. Like for someone to just walk away from you as you haven't even finished your sentence, and dude, it was crazy, right? So I'm telling him, like, hey, take it easy, relax, right? Then I get on the phone with the pizza guy, and the pizza guy starts talking disrespectful off rip for no reason. I don't know what his issue was. So I'm on the phone with this nigga, and this is me a long time ago.
Dealing with them child support payments. I don't know.
So
those workers, they working for something delivering those pizzas.
Yeah. So like I'm on the phone with him, and this is me a long time ago. And Ray remembers how I was a long time ago. So the moment he gets spicy with me, I get spicy right back. I'm like, I'll fuck you up. And I start like talking like right away, right off, almost immediately. Like it's crazy, right? And then like after that, you know, he finally brings the pieces after this whole shit happens. We're waiting there. We're getting arguments. Because I think we even went back to Ray's crib after he said he dropped the pieces off there. No pizza, and had to walk back to the Domino's, right? So we drove back to the Domino's. So we go to the Domino's, and he finally brings the pieces. Now, everything could have been fine. Ray's in his car. I'm standing there with our old boy. You know, he's not with us anymore. He didn't die, but he's not with us anymore. So, you know. So, you know, he's with us, and the guy comes out the car. If he had just walked past me and gotten our pieces, everything would have been fine. But instead, he turns to me and goes, "Oh, so you was a nigga talking all that shit on the phone." And, you know, knowing me back then, immediately, switch goes off. I'm like, yeah, what the fuck you gonna do about it? Boom. And then, like, I'm walking towards him to go fight him. Not Ray. Our boy jumps in front of me trying to stop me. I move him aside like he's a side of fries, like with no effort. I moved away, and I think I literally picked him up and moved him out of my way. And then I kept going towards the guy. And then Ray wakes up. He was taking a nap. He wakes up and runs over to stop me. The first time he tries to stop me, he's not able to. I'm able to throw him off of me. But then he picks me up. And you know, once you take away a person's like grounding, once they don't have gravity anymore, their power's gone, right? That's really like a physics thing, right? Like it's gone. So now I'm helpless. I'm like fucking flailing, trying to kill the guy. Can't get to him. But then the thing is, the reason why I bring that story up is because Ray actually saved my life that night. Because this fucking dickhead went to go get a box cutter. And yeah, he was going to try and slice me up. That's why he was talking like that.
But that's the thing. When you realize anyone who has that hyper-combative nature, they're prepared. There's one thing from an organic fight to one guy with the hyper-combative nature towards someone who's angry. When people could get you on the edge like that, or they want to make you upset, they have some plan to do something so sinister to you that you don't really see it.
Yeah.
Right, and that is, I think that's the key principle to protecting yourself. If your friends see it, if other people see it, they can stop you. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of people who can't wait for the day they can say they harmed someone drastically. They live off this. There's people out there who they're looking for fights because they live off this. So you can almost see it in any situation you go through, where they are using their anger to bring it back to the point. They're using their anger to justify a very dark desire they have.
Oh, yeah.
If you think a pizza man doesn't say something like, "Oh, you're the one who saw on the phone and won't have something for you," you best believe that your friends saved you. Because no one picks fights. If you had nothing, you'd be like, "Yo, man, it's cool. Don't worry about it. I got it right
like,
here.
Take
I
it easy."
Understand. It would have been way different. I understand why you were upset. It's okay. We have it. Don't worry about it. We're sorry.
But the confidence that you're speaking with.
Right. But that kind of confidence to say like, "Oh, you're the one." And they could be anyone, and they're usually the people that you will perceive them as someone you can take. But
you know, I guess I'll bring this to an anime I watched recently, Vinland Saga. I don't know if you saw it. Did anyone else see Vinland Saga?
Parts of it, but did not.
Whole thing is about anger. That's pretty much what it's about. And like the main character, Thorfinn? Yeah. Thorfinn, right? His father is murdered right in front of him. So of course he feels a lot of anger. And he spends his whole life trying to get vengeance for his father. And you know, he becomes very good at death and murder. And he's easily able to murder people. But he's never able to get revenge against the guy who killed his dad. Because that guy just remains better than him until the very end. Becomes his father figure, but like in a way that he did not expect. And then that guy does end up dying, but of his own decision, pretty much, right? And like, it's just like in fucking Django. Remember in Django when everything was cool and the guy could not resist and still shot him and ruined everything? And he literally, at least he apologized to Django after he did it. Yeah, he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't help it," and then he shoots him. But yeah. You know, he realizes that his anger didn't really do much for him, but, you know, steal him away from his mother and sister, and he spends his life as a young boy in war. So I think he starts murdering when he's like 8. Like, he becomes a child soldier, pretty much. And yeah, when he reaches a point where he decides that peace is the only way forward, and, you know, he's trying to reclaim all that time and trying to make good on Earth with the remaining time he has left. And, you know... So much so to the point that he's willing to let people beat the shit out of him just to prove a point. He let them beat him until he was bloody and bleeding and his face was swollen. And it really just it shows you like there's nothing to be had in like living your life in anger, in rage, or like trying to get revenge. Like nothing can happen from that. Like I know the classic saying is always like if you want to have revenge, dig 2 graves or that shit. It's true. Because, like, when you live a life where you're always, like, angry and always trying to, like, get back at people, you're spiritually dead. You're no longer a living person. You're now unconscious and walking forward. You're a fucking shambling zombie.
Even if you accomplish a lot through anger, it's like, if you're not at peace with yourself, what does it matter?
It does nothing for you.
Even if it takes you far, even if you're wildly successful from it, it just...
I'll give you a street fight example. How do you stop a street fight? It usually has to be stopped by a third party who
such as yourself. You probably stopped a couple, right?
Right. Third party that hits a mutual agreement, or it has to be stopped by the 2 people fighting who realize that they did something disrespectful enough to stop fighting, which means that you probably have to let that person harm you.
You guys seen that video, right, with the Muslim guy that broke up the 2 kids that was fighting in the street? You seen that?
Yeah, the mutual agreement.
And then they end up becoming cool?
Right, the mutual agreement sets you free. If a third party intervenes, you can stop it. 2, those people have to beat each other to a point where they realize, okay, this is probably going to end up in death or injuries that I don't want.
Yeah, one person has to step back and submit.
But at the same point, someone's going to get harmed. So there is the whole like vengeance arc and thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna be the villain. It's so clowny because at the same point, what are you attacking? Like, what are you really fighting for? You're fighting for something just to get a realization that even if you instill it in someone with the highest degree, like let's say you were just Superman and you just beat up a weak guy who you knew you're weaker than.
You're gonna feel like shit.
You're gonna wonder. You're gonna sit back at home like, damn, did I really have to do that to him? Like, could I not have settled it a different way?
Yeah, that's actually a great point because one of the first fights I ever got into where, like, this kid, me and him were friends, and then we reached a point where we didn't want to be friends anymore because we were talking about Coomers earlier. Hardcore Coomer, this kid. Every joke from him was a sex joke. This was in middle school. It was very weird. He would do giggity in real life. Very weird guy. Yeah, very weird guy. And, I got uncomfortable with it. So I told him I can't be your friend. I was like, if you can stop the sex jokes. And we tried. To show you, I've always been a kind soul. I tried. And then he kept doing the sex jokes. I was like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I was like, could you leave me alone? I think that's exactly how I said it. Eventually, these other guys got caught wind of the fact that we were beefing. They riled him up to fight me because he was taking karate. So he's thinking, oh, I'm the man, right? Yeah. And at first I'm like, I don't want to fight you. Can we not fight? And then he said something that really got me mad. He was like, yeah, I'd fuck him up. That's why he doesn't want to fight. And I was like, oh, nah. So then we fight, and I beat the shit out of this kid. Like man. Dude, I remember at one point, and this is the only part of this story that's actually kind of cool, and I laugh about this part. This part was awesome, right? Everything else, sad. But this part, awesome, right? We're fighting, right? And again, I'm beating the shit out of him. At one point, right, this shit was so cool. It was like something out of a movie. I spin around and hit him with the back of my fucking hand. Because he tried to kick me in the back. And this shit was hilarious. He kicks me in the back, and his foot goes like this and does nothing. And then I just turned and hit him with the back of my fist. And then, yeah, in that moment, I felt fucking awesome. I was like, yeah, I'm the man, right? And then after, I'm looking down at the blood on my hands, literal blood on my hands. And I'm like, oh, man.
I always say, 1 minute you're having the time of your life, and the second you're regretting everything you just did.
I was like, yeah, literally, I was like, what the fuck did I just do? And then I remember in that moment, thinking that I was literally just friends with this guy. And I'm thinking about all the kind, tender moments we had together. And there I am fucking beating him to the point that he's bleeding all over me. Like,
you just feel dumb. Yeah. There's no other way to feel but just stupid.
It's almost like you had to lower yourself to that.
Yes, yeah, you feel like
you weren't you.
You feel like you became an animal, yeah. And I still think about that shit to this day. Like, it's silly, but I still think about it. I will still think back to that and feel guilt. It's weird. Like, randomly, the other day I was trying to sleep, and I randomly just remembered that I did that.
It haunts you forever.
I was like, damn, I didn't even kill anybody. I'm sitting here acting like I committed murder. But, yeah. But, I mean, anger itself isn't the problem, right? It's more
what you do with it.
Yes, having the ability to transmute it. If you can transmute your anger and accept it, then you can do great things. Heck, you're a prime example of that. With like,
like you do. It's okay to be mad. It's not okay to commit sins or harm people because you're mad.
Exactly.
Right? It's normal to sit back, look at the world, look at the fate you're going through, and be upset. Being upset and angry are the same thing. But the reason people call it upset is you can choose to be sad too.
Yeah.
You have when you're upset, it's either you're sad or you're angry. That's why the word is used for both. But if you take that anger or that sadness and you use it for something, you can turn it into a passionate endeavor that makes sense. Right? You can be ignorant with your sorrows. You can be ignorant with your anger. Ignorance is I'm going around, I'm hurting the next person I see. I've had people speak that to me. Oh, I'm so mad. Next person who says something, I'm going to do something back.
Peak goofiness.
Right, goofy. Right? It's goofy. Because that person has nothing to do while you're mad, but you're going to take it out. I have people who are upset, what do? They talk about hurting themselves, hurting others, killing people. Like, they get so sad, they talk about the wrong things.
Yeah.
When you get to use being upset in terms of passion, you say, okay, I'm in this situation. How do I mutually get out of the situation in a way where no matter how people look at it, they will vouch for me. They will be that third-party voucher to say, okay, you feel one way, he feels this way, here's the agreement, here's the resolution. And that is something that's not easy to do. It takes a lot of fortitude of your own character.
Yeah.
Because anyone is capable of anything. If you do not think for a second that you're incapable of destruction or that you're incapable of doing anything, you lose your right to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Joker thing is all it takes is one bad day. Emotions force you into a situation in which you're chasing external pleasure. So in that case, it would have been like you letting your anger force you into a situation where you're trying to like feed that angry demon within you. So like when I was young, I suppose I had my moment where I was like chasing external pleasures, but it wasn't like the way. No. When I was very young, I did chase external pleasure like all the time. Like I used to do a lot of stupid things. Just on a whim, just because I thought it would be cool. Heck, I used to do a lot of dumb things. And then I reached a point when I got older, I'll say about like 20 years old, I suddenly began to become aware of how much time I like wasted in doing all those dumb things. I was like, damn, I gotta make up for that time. So I kind of became a little bit of a self-improvement junkie, right? And Ray will tell you, bro, back then, there was never a moment in which I was not doing nothing. Like every second had to have a purpose. That's really how I used to behave. I think that's like a good mindset to have, that like you should use your time with intention. But I was going nuts. Like I remember I used to work 60 hours a week, and I would still work out every single day. And I remember I did not watch any fiction. Fiction I did not watch. I did not watch cartoons anymore. I would read things sometimes, but they were usually like self-improvement shit. Yeah. And I did that for a long time. But then I came to realize that I just replaced one external pleasure, with another. Mm-hmm. Where before I was like chasing random things to make me feel good in the moment. Now I was doing something where it's like I'm chasing these status symbols and they're giving me pleasure, right? I'm trying to become a high value man. Like everybody used to literally think that.
They got the rubric for you, right?
Yeah.
Anything you want to be, there's a rubric for it. They're going to take you step by step and you're going to get there. Mm-hmm. The problem is like you have benefited from that time of just the constant self-improvement. You have better habits now, you have better everything.
Yeah. It did help me a lot.
But does the rubric match me as a person?
Mm-hmm. Of course
and
not.
It's not always the case. Right, there are many ways to do what's best for you, and it does come from not chasing pleasure sometimes. Yeah. A lot of my growth has come from me like, I don't need this. I could go today without caffeine. I could go today without the things I love. By what point are you trading your life enjoyment for that? Yeah. I hit a point where it was very difficult for me to watch any movie, very difficult for me to sit down and do anything. Very difficult for me to sleep and rest because there was always something that was going to put me in that rubric and get me towards that goal. But the goal has always been something I can be satisfied with. Yeah. That's why they have the whole man in the mirror analogy. As long as you can look at your manifestation of self and look at your past and see your future, and that guy who you see today doesn't disappoint yourself, you're on the right track. Because what is a high value man? What is all these terms? What are all these things that are selling me?
All these labels.
Right? Yeah. At what point does it interfere with my enjoyment of life? Because I'm here for a limited time.
Because like that's the main point where it's like they're both external pleasures. Like if you're chasing the high value man thing, you're just trying to placate yourself and give yourself pleasure. You don't know it while you're doing it, but you are. And if you're doing the other thing where you're trying to be like a party animal, you're still feeding two different identities. Like you're still feeding something, right? But like you said, it all comes to inner being. Like figuring out what that stable foundation for yourself is. And then like trying to live your life in accordance with that stable foundation. Like if you don't have that, you are lost. You're like a what's the analogy they always use about a boat at sea? You're just like out there with no fucking compass. You're in a dark forest.
The one thing I was gonna add to that is like, you guys bring up a great point. It reminds me of this motivational speaker that I watched. His name is Inky Johnson. He was saying that like, what's more important, what you become or what you acquire, right? Because you could have a lot of money, you could have multiple sexual partners, whatever your desire is. It's like who you become in that process of what you're acquiring. So many people focus on, when I get this, I'm gonna be this. And when I get that, I'm gonna do this. But if you're a good person all the way through. If you're a good person all the way through, you know what I'm saying, that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you obtain because you stuck true to yourself. You were good to people. You were honest. You know what I'm saying. You maintain those core principles that translate into, you know, people wanting to be around you. But if you're so focused on, like you said, the desire or, you know, the outcome or what you acquire, that you let it affect your entire being, and then now that you acquire this thing, you're this whole different type of person, and nobody wants to be around you. They don't want nothing to do with you. You severed all ties that you could have had. Then it doesn't matter what you acquire.
That shit really happens too.
Because you weren't true to yourself. And I think that's a very powerful thing. Is like people allow what they obtain or what they achieve to dictate who they are.
Yeah, I feel like
but if you know who you are the entire journey or the entire process, it doesn't matter whether you're broke or successful. You're gonna be you.
I feel like that's a great way to. I don't even think it's like who you become. I think it's like who you are is what who you are right in this moment is what you should focus on, and focusing on the present moment and what makes you feel like you. You know,
right? Because you can live your whole life chasing a goal that doesn't make you happy.
Yep.
And you can
or a goal that doesn't even fucking exist.
But the worst part is you may not have the life experience or the knowledge to realize that it won't make you happy.
Yeah.
Because we all get sold illusions.
That's a good point.
We all get sold illusions. Every day there's something else you could have been or could have done.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of people. You ever heard about the story of the guy who peaked in high school? He did not peak in high school. But the illusion of the high school life captivated him to a point where he could not improve.
He could not move beyond it.
You gotta realize, and it's like, what do I really want? What do I really stand for? And how much do I want to give up to prove I stand for something?
Yeah.
And how much do I need to keep my basic stand themes? It's almost like you're in a false set of ranking system that you get to pay attention to who criticizes you. But there's only one critic you can't run from. It's yourself.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, like, what are you trying to do? It's a stupid question, but what are you trying to do simply says that, okay, today I'm going to decide I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
But the second your actions today interfere with your greater goal, you have to self-reflect.
Yeah.
Right? So you're constantly balancing this mix of both. And that is the way to do it. You have to balance that mix of both. Do I want to relax today or do I want to do?
Yeah.
Till you get happiness, right? Because at the end of the day, you could be rich, you could be anything, you could have this job this way. You could have lived your life 1,000 different ways, but it would never be you.
What do you guys think are like good values to have that are stable and permanent in an impermanent world?
I'll say I can't think of everything, but that I would live off of, but I would say, the core things is, being a good person always is going to translate, being honest with people, not always living for yourself, but being considerate towards other people, how your actions affect other people, the way that you being around them, how does that affect them? How could you enhance somebody's life? How could you make their day better? We was talking about off camera, going to clubs and or bars, and the guy that's sitting behind the bar making our drinks, we don't know what he's going through, or he probably don't want to be here today. But finding a way to just be a positive, or make his day a little bit better, or make him happier about wanting to be here. And I think that's something that I internalize and try to be conscious of whenever I'm in the presence of somebody else. It's like, we don't know what demons somebody's battling. We don't know what they're going through in their personal life, and knowing that even if a small act of kindness, not even knowing how much that plays a part, or the impact that could have. And so I just try to I try to stay true to that and kind of maintain that value system of, like I said, being good, being honest, and just being considerate of other people's thoughts and feelings.
I would divide up into 3 characters. I would say morals and principles are all you have to answer to. Your own morality and your own principles are all you have to
So
answer
what are
to.
principles that you answer to?
Principles is your integrity. So
no, I mean like your specific principles.
Don't do harm, don't do malice, don't be violent, don't ruin others' day, and speak the truth. For me, it's a lot about just telling people the truth. I don't care if it puts someone else in a bad situation. I just can't lie. I can't lie. I have to tell the truth. So that's my highest principle.
Honestly,
my morals are
Honesty.
vague because they deal with my spiritual beliefs and they deal with my
Truth
actions.
is something I care about a lot, right? It's something I trying to live truthfully to myself, truthfully to people around me, trying not to harm others, and like even unintentionally, like I try to think of what effect my actions have on the world and the people around me. And yeah, that's a great point to make. And then like you were saying, trying to think of how to phrase this, but yeah, I would say like one, trying to be honest, trying to be truthful, trying not to hurt people, thinking about how your actions affect the world as a whole, like not even like on some like global stage
What helped me
shit.
the most
Yeah.
was realizing that feelings are temporary. Because I've responded poorly to people who were telling me the truth. I responded good to people who were telling me lies. Well, before I knew they were lies, we have a volatile in feeling. But in that volatility of feeling, there is a you and a them, and a her or he or she. There's a person on the mirror end of it.
Yeah.
Because people have told me lies and made me feel great about myself.
Oh yeah.
But I could not look in the mirror and pretend they were telling me the truth. And when I could not look at the mirror and pretend this person was telling me the truth, I said, this person gave me a lie that hindered my progress.
It's also the ability to be self-aware, which is another
Oh
value.
yes, in the Stoic principles, they
And
call
that goes
it
from both sides, from yourself and to the person that you're interacting with. Their ability to receive information, right, or criticism that could be productive or helpful in their life, but they may, like I said, they might respond poorly to it, or they might feel like you're lying to them, or you're just being overly critical. And I think those, like, when you have that ability to examine yourself, to evaluate, is this the person that I want to be? That's gonna be able to get you to where you want to get to in life, because you're not operating on a level where you're lying to yourself, you're negotiating. You're
I think the number one thing they lie to people is you have to operate on a social standard of the world that has been sold to us on the internet. Right? I'm not asking anyone I know to go be a high value man, get your product. Go. I'm not going to ask that of everyone.
Yeah.
To ask that of everyone to tell the artists,
He's selling a lot.
don't do your art. Right? I would be selling them a lie if I told them, okay, you gotta work out, you gotta do this, you gotta do this. The guy who's in the woods chopping trees and he doesn't care.
He's
about
living a
working
life.
out. He's not gonna be. He's taking care.
He's
of
living
he's
true to
not
himself.
Gonna be in the gym, doing some mechanical weight.
Heck, he's stronger than the guy in the gym.
Right, and usually they end up stronger. And if they do the gym after the farm life, they get
He'll be
retarded.
insane.
Right, they get retardedly strong. Right, even though we can't say that, we gotta bleep it out, whatever. But everyone on the internet knows what that word means.
But I'll say this:
not a bad thing.
you guys are touching on a good point. Where it's like, I feel like what you just touched on this, where it's like, one of the Stoic principles is to remain sane, right? And I think all sane means is like, you have internal feelings and perception of the world, and if that's in conflict with the outer world, you'll feel pain because you want. It's just like that friction. It just feels weird, right? So like you have several options. Either you can try and shape the world to match your inner workings, which almost never works, right? It's a fool's errand, right? Or you can try. You could either just like remain apathetic, which can work if the thing is like it doesn't matter that much. Like it's like heck, even the trying to shape the world, if it's small enough, right, and you can actually impact it, of course. Like you're sitting on the bed, your legs are cold. Oh, my legs are cold. You take the sheet, cover your legs. Problem solved, right? Right. But then if you're talking about like, I gotta solve world hunger, no, you're not doing that, right? It's not happening. You can try to do little things to like reach that path, but when it comes to like trying to ignore a problem or like trying to remain apathetic, even that has its limits, right? If it's something that's directly affecting you, there's only so long you can remain apathetic to it, right? Like I was gonna use a very off-color example, but it's like, let's say
You can't run from things that eat you.
yeah, like say let's say you got a bully at school. He's beating the shit out of you every day, right?
That's fucked up.
You can try and be like, oh, you know what? I'm just here to study. I'm here to pass my classes.
You're running
But
away from the problem.
that shit's gonna eat away at your mentality, at your emotional state. It's not good for you. You got to stand up for yourself at some point, right? So then that leads us to the other example. What do? Inner work, right? Inner work is now you have to change your inner workings to match the world, or at least to become in a state in which you're not in conflict.
I would say find the best you to handle your worldly conflicts.
Exactly.
Like, you don't have to change you, but find the best you that can handle it.
Yeah, because that's the thing, right?
If you wanna, let's pretend like you have the goal that this is all I need.
Yeah.
And you can't afford it. Unfortunately, you have to get more your money up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Or find a way to do it.
Exactly.
If you have
when you reach the state in which you are now in a state of acceptance, that's an easy thing. Like, you're like, okay, I don't have enough money for this thing. I need more money. How do I get more money? Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to work a couple extra hours to get more money.
Or I could be the guy who's like, yo, you got extra $1 and scoop it up off the
like,
I know some guys who've been able to do that.
Because like one thing you said that was a very good point is when you were saying you like to ask people like, what are you trying to do, right?
Yeah,
I remember going next to Buddhism, because we got the book right here. Mm-hmm. There's this, I forgot what Buddhist guru it was, but he used to ask his disciples a simple question. What is this moment lacking, right? Because it forces you to think about the present moment immediately. And then like often, like if we were to say, what is this moment lacking? We wouldn't be able to think of it. This moment right now, as we are in, feels good. Oh yeah, we feel real good. We're having a nice conversation. We feel nice, right? All your problems melt away when you try to focus on that distinct moment. And there's what was I trying to? There's another thing where it's like where was I going with that?
Where's this moment lacking? I would say maybe how could you make it better? What do you desire to make it better? Because Buddhism deals with a lot of desire. Yeah. So, what is the moment lacking? If you answer honestly, truly nothing. There's nothing really lacking in a moment. Mm-hmm. What could improve it? What do you desire at the moment? May already be solved with what it's lacking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But for me to desire what is lacking would mean that
you're taking yourself out of the moment.
It's now permanently altered.
Yeah.
So Buddhism tends to teach a lot of that aspect.
The desire
which
to
is
mess
why
up the moment.
They tell you that if you just live your life
chasing desire,
you will not.
You'll not be happy.
You will
ever.
not expand. Yeah. But it's missing something because
you have to have desire. Desire is in the
right, but also there are certain moments that you need to step up and be what is desired.
Yes.
Right? Like, am I going to let things go to shit, or can I just come up with some stupid idea to fix it? I'll give you an example. My friend Eddie, one day we're in Delancey and this gangsterish guy is now.
But you gotta make this fast though, because I want to use the last 15 minutes.
He starts dancing. He just goes up to the guys like, "Yo, dance battle me right now." None of these guys can dance, but the pride in that guy, just knowing he got to speak back to the cops, versus the fact that some random white guy just challenged you to dance, they just start dance battling in front of the cops. Suddenly, he completely forgot about the fact that he was cursing out the cops, and he's so invested in looking good before the crowd. You start to realize this guy was only arguing with the cops to look good in front of the crowd.
Interesting.
Right? Because they sell you fantasies. There is nothing cool about flexing on people.
No.
Right? Okay, so what? There's nothing cool about that.
That's actually segues perfectly into our next point.
Right.
Where it's like, one thing that happens when you're self-improving and that kind of stuff is you start to develop. Well, we all have ego. Yeah.
Superiority.
You don't want to jerk off your ego. Mm-hmm. And like a lot of the time when people start self-improving, they start doing like pointless things that just feed the ego. Like I was doing that shit for a long time.
They feel better than others.
Yeah. When I first started self-improving, I would take cold showers every day. I worked out every day of the week. And it's like I did all this shit that made me feel hard. I felt cool, like on some David Goggins shit.
Fun with it, it's
probably worthless.
I like how like the way you structured it. You said don't jerk off your ego, as opposed to not having one.
Yeah.
I think our ego all makes us who we are, and there's a place for it. But it gets to a point where it overcomes your entire being.
Yeah.
And now, people that you're in the presence of, like I said, it's just a matter of like not being able to be around them, or not being able to to be relatable or feel like you're on a different stratosphere.
Oh yes.
You know?
Oh my God.
And
That can happen very
everybody
easily.
below you is, if they're not on your level, you know what I'm saying, they're inferior.
Because what did Tyler Durden say in Fight Club? He said self-improvement is masturbation. Self-destruction is where it is, right? And what self-destruction doesn't mean like destroying your body or destroying yourself. It means removing all that unnecessary baggage and all those things that are blocking you from being your true self.
The things that make you feel better than others are some of the most critical things that hold people back.
Yes.
You gotta understand, when people start hitting these ranks of high follower count, high everything, just
or not. It doesn't even have to be that outward. Right. Like it can be something as simple as, like I said, where you're taking cold showers and you're like, I knew this guy right at the gym. Like he was there every day lifting, and I remember he said something so fucking stupid to me. He was like, oh, you can never have a rest day. You gotta always give it your all. You gotta give it your all every time you're in here. And I was like, that's how you get injured, you fucking idiot. That's what I remember thinking in my head.
It creates the illusion that everything you do is proper and it's proper for everyone, no matter what.
Yes.
So it's so pure and proper. If this person doesn't do it, they're beneath.
They're a beta.
I think
they're a beta.
Necessary because you'll get the results or.
Well, no, I won't say the ego.
Goals that you want.
I won't say the ego is necessary. I say it's a part of you. So why try to? Like, I hate when people try to act like you just need to reject things that are naturally a part of you. Ego is a part of you. Desire is a part of you.
But that's what I mean by it being necessary. Is like you have it in place. But you have to learn how to manage it.
Yes.
That's all it is. You have to learn how. Okay, maybe somebody else, their lifestyle is completely different. Like you said, the guy that is out in the forest chopping wood, like he has no fucking interest or desire in going to the gym. That's not what he does. You know, like he's from a different point of life, and you being the person that you are and what you decide to do with your life and going to the gym every day and taking that seriously, being able to have a conversation with that person, being able to respect their life decisions and not try to impose your own.
Imposing is a result of an expansion of ego.
But that doesn't mean that you don't give it as much as you can in the gym and you stop what you're doing. But you do what you do, and when you see somebody that maybe they live their life not in accordance to the way that you live it, it might be a way that they choose to do things.
It might just make them happy.
It might just make them happy.
That's what
so
we
you
forget.
Just respect that.
There's nothing wrong with being happy. There's nothing wrong with being happy.
I'm not gonna be here to tout any sort of
like if your happiness is not hurting yourself or other people, then what the fuck do I have to say?
Right? And hurt is not necessarily harm, right? We view there are things that make people uncomfortable. There are things that make people question, and there are things that make people feel certain things. But to make someone feel is not a deliberate form of harm.
Yeah, that's true. Because I'll say, like, when it comes to self-improvement, to forever keep your eye fixed on the North Star, right? But don't forget to look down at the ground to see where you're going, you know? Like, don't get... Yeah.
Just like you're walking into your shoes. You don't put that little glass
you
down.
Look up and then you look back down.
You're scrubbing your shoes in the bathtub.
Like, remember to moderate, to look back. Like, okay, does this really help me? It makes me feel good, but does it actually have a positive impact on my life and the people around me? Okay, then it's good for both of us. If it makes me feel good, but it doesn't do anything for my life or for people, then it must be worthless. Let me get rid of it. If it makes other people feel good, but it doesn't do anything for me or my life, stupid. Get rid of it. Like, just don't do that shit anymore, you know?
Being able to be, like I said, it goes back to the awareness part of it, because being able to understand that. Like, a lot of people don't have an understanding of, a lot of people are living for other people. Like, oh, this person told me to do this person do this. I guess it's the right thing to do. I guess it makes sense. Everybody's telling me to do this, but I don't feel good about it. And then the opposite, they doing things for themselves, they only living for themselves, they go to work, they make money, and it's all about them. Me. And everybody, and as you see, they alienated everybody in their life. Nobody want to be around them. So you have those both sides of the spectrum where you have to be able to manage that and know that the things that you are doing, how they affect people, the people that are close to you, the
highly
people
affects,
that you care about.
highly affects your quality of life.
How do you affect your quality of life? Do you care about the people around you? Do you care about how they feel? Does that matter to you? Is that important? Do they have an importance in your life? And being able to navigate through that and be conscious of that is going to be the key.
It's like the gym, right? Gym is great, taking care of your body's a temple. You should take care of it. You should be healthy, right? And when it comes to like refining, you guys know I love the gym. You guys know I love it. Emilio loves the gym. We were gym heads, right? Gym rats, as Eric would put it. And like,
first one in, last one to leave.
Yeah, the gym can be a good place and a great place for your spirituality, your mental, and all that stuff. But it can also easily consume you, where it's like you end up overtraining or becomes your whole life. Like I remember, I told Eric about this. Well, EJ, I remember there was a period where I was training so obsessively. Like I was training 5 days a week, but I would just train everything, like full body, and I would be going hardcore. I remember one day I felt like shit. And like my ab was hurting and I couldn't figure out why. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe I just have like congestion. I took like a laxative, nothing happened. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And finally, after like 2 days of pain, I finally like started to feel some reliefs and I peed. And when I peed, it was like pink. And then it went into the thing and it was like fucking the water, the thing was pink. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, oh shit, I'm pissing blood. And then I realized it was like I fucking had overtrained and fucking overtaxed my system to the point that I was pissing blood. And that shit changed my fucking life. I started being much more like I still work out crazy. I work out hard, but I now think a lot about recovery and like how to not destroy my fucking body. Because it's like, what is the point of being in here working out all the time if I'm destroying my body? I'm just like the fat guy, right? If I'm destroying my body in regards of health, right?
Wow, yeah.
I'm just like him.
That's true.
I'm destroying my body in a different way, right? A much harder way, to be honest. It takes much more effort to destroy my body the way I'm doing it.
The temple that you have is not getting the proper treatment that it deserves.
Yeah.
You gotta look. Do I have fun doing this? Right.
Yes.
A lot of people go to the gym. A lot of people are 1 week offenders. 1 week offenders, right? 1 month, 1 week out of the month, they're gonna go to the gym, right? 1 week offenders, right? You got people who train often, you got people who train hard, and you got people who show up every day because it's a social occasion where they do what they're used to, right?
Wasting time.
Right. You got many different ways of using something. Mm-hmm. What you gotta figure out is, at what point of using this am I actively having fun in a way that I can keep it going forever?
That I kind of disappear into the activity,
Can I keep this up forever? Can I keep going at this rate doing this forever because I'm having fun? Why would you want to stop having fun? Mm-hmm. And I can tell you, if your urine's pink, you're not having fun. Right? If your urine's pink, you're not having fun.
That shit was so fucking scary when it happened.
Right. If you gotta just every day in the locker room, shoot.
Oh, the steroid junkies.
You're probably not having fun.
Yeah.
If you're on social media looking at this guy lift this, and you want to get there, you're probably not having fun.
Yeah.
Right? Just to go back to ego. Ego is very easily influenced by others. A lot of people want to do what they see other people do. Vice versa. You gotta find out, is this fun for me? What's fun about the gym? Okay, I get to physically exert my body. Guess what also does that? Running, hard labor, walking upstairs, right?
That's an amazing point.
If you find that fun, you should probably have no problem.
That's a great point, because it's like people, when they approach working out, they see the bodybuilder shit and they think that's the only approach to working out. It's like, no, you can be like EJ and run. You can run a lot, and that's how you get your physical activity. Like, if you run often, you're gonna have a great heart. You're gonna be healthy, as long as you're not overdoing it, right? Yeah. There are multiple ways. You can be, you can be a functional trainer. You can be one of those guys who does what's the thing where you don't use any weights? Calisthenics. You can be one of those guys. You don't have to be sitting there bench pressing and deadlifting. If you want to do that, go for it. But if you don't want to, don't do it. Yeah, same. I like Well, I don't deadlift, but I do deadlift. But in the other, you know, the one, the trap part,
Yeah, it's fun.
I deadlift. I just find it fun, and I know that my strength doesn't necessarily translate.
I tell you the truth, I got like 10 exercises I find fun. Don't ask me to do anything else.
I do those
like,
exercises.
I'm the type like, okay, I got 10 exercises I find fun. Don't ask me to do anything.
Because like the other thing is like,
I don't care. It's not gonna be fun.
If you become too consumed with an activity and you're not living your life, any activity, but especially with the gym, you can become a gym cell. And Ray, just let me finish this point. So like you can become like a gym cell, right? And I remember I met a guy like this, and I met these guys at the same time. So the other guy who was telling me, "Oh, you gotta be in there every time you come in here. You gotta give it your all." And I'm just like, I remember when he was telling me that shit. You ever seen the Willy Wonka meme where he's like this and smiling? That's how I was looking at him as he was talking. I was just like, I didn't say a word. I'm letting you. I was like, okay. I'm like, hey,
entertain yourself.
Okay.
Conversation.
Right. I met this other guy at the gym. This dude ripped, strong guy, ripped. I made conversation with him. Right. Dude can't even look me in the fucking eye. I'm like, dude, what is the point of being able to like deadlift 500 pounds and bench 3 plates if you can't even have a conversation with a fellow man?
Yeah.
I would say a lot of people's numbers and their advancement in the gym is sold to them by some deep, dark insecurities.
Yes.
That's my only problem with the gym. A lot of people are there because there's something deep and dark they're truly insecure about.
Yeah.
I would say that's the
gym culture. Like, I'm going to be honest, like the first time I started working out, it was, I've always been an active guy, but when I started working out at the rate I was, it came from insecurity. I just got out of a bad relationship. So I wanted to be better. I wanted to improve myself. And then that's why I started working out as obsessively as I did, because I was insecure. And then once I lost that insecurity, I shifted the way I worked out, and it was a lot less dumb. because
and you probably got stronger for it, too.
Yeah, I did get way stronger than I was before.
Are important. Balance is important, and you're only going to be as strong as you think you are.
Oh, that is good. Will you ever be two? It's just as lonely as one.
Alright, we took the intermission.
But intermission completed. No, anyways, what was it, the Wonder Pants? The last thing we spoke about was like functional strength and stuff. So when it comes to the gym, right, and it becomes something where it's no longer fun, and you're just concerned with your physical appearance, and you're trying to fucking
check the pump in the mirror,
you're checking the pump in the mirror. That kind of fits into the next topic where caring so much about your physical appearance that it consumes you, like Looksmaxxing, right? You know what Looksmaxxing is. You guys don't, but Looksmaxxing is the idea of trying to have the perfect ideal face or like physique that women are into. So it's like having the perfect facial thirds and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I do think beauty is a pursuit of noble acclaim, right? Like it was one thing Fyodor fuck, why can't I pronounce his name anymore? Yeah. One thing that he said is that beauty will save the world. And I agree with him. He was talking about like in terms of like ideas and like trying to strive for like a beautiful society, like a good society. But I also think like, trying to present our best self in terms of our physical appearance and, the way we set up our environments, like this is a good thing. Like it's good to have visually appealing things around you. It boosts your morale. It boosts your self-esteem. It's good to work on your appearance and to try to appear somewhat appealing. Mm-hmm. But we got to remember that there's a balance, and you have to you can't get too consumed by it.
For me, the balance is simple. If you start to feel insecure about how you look when you don't Looksmaxx, because I'm not gonna wear my flyest shit. I'm not gonna be the guy. Kanye West actually has a good quality. This like he's so insecure that he got to wear at least one of his watches when he goes to the deli. If you get to that point where your active appearance, if you don't have that like standard, you set yourself up for like noble events, and you're walking around regular degular, and it's making you insecure, I think you probably took Looksmaxxing too far.
Yeah.
Right. Match the occasion, but match who you are. I'm not going to be the flyest man in the deli, but I'll still be confident in the deli. Right? Knowing the place and time creates the release of that need. But beyond that, the coolest thing is when you could show up anywhere looking however and you don't really care. There's a balance to it, right?
Yeah,
I'm not going to go to, for example, let's say you had a wedding one day.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to the wedding.
Yeah, I'd kick your ass out.
Right? I'm not going to go to the wedding bagging up, dirty clothes, unshaved, unkept. I'm going to go to the wedding like it's a wedding for your sake of respect.
Yeah.
But if I show up to a wedding like that, do you think that is going to make me insecure? There's a difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? There's right and wrong, but there's also that insecurity.
Yeah, I remember me and Ray kind of spoke about this, where I was saying, let's imagine, once we build this this channel to a certain level, and let's say we're hiring people to work for the channel, me and Ray, very easygoing guys. You're all easygoing guys. If a dude walked into our interview and he was wearing a t-shirt and some pants, I probably wouldn't be, I'd at least want him to wear maybe a collared shirt or I
let that man rock.
No, I mean
sweatpants.
Oh yeah, no. Let me finish. No, I'm getting to that. But let's say he shows up in a t-shirt and some nice, not even nice, but some jeans. He looks normal. I'm like, okay, whatever. We'll interview. But if he shows up in fucking sweatpants and a fucking wife beater, I'm like, okay, you don't even have enough respect for me to at least somewhat, somewhat look as if
you don't even know if I'm looking for it, but you're not even trying to accommodate it.
I was like, at least a t-shirt, bro. Yeah. A t-shirt's fine. I'm not gonna kill you.
You don't know if I'm fine with that, but you assuming that I'm fine. You're not even trying to give off the best impression. That comes from the
illusion of platform, right? Because if you're pulling this guy, he's gonna be on your platform. I would just let him rock.
No, but that's not the thing. It's not about platform. It's about how much you are considering the person, right? So let me finish. Because I remember the other point we made. It's let's say Ray was going on a date, right? And he shows up to the date, and the girl shows up in some fucking clothes that she didn't wash, and her hair is unkempt. She clearly did not give a fuck about that date. She did not care. She was like, I can show up however the fuck I want. He's gonna give me food.
Even if the person doesn't care about it, you have to go into it thinking that they do, and you want them to give you best.
No, it's not. It's not even about how much they care. Yeah. It's about how much you care.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The care comes from oh damn, this person might.
You should at least consider, if you should at least put some effort into making it seem like you are somewhat concerned about this thing. And how it's gonna, evolve.
Yeah, does this thing have merit?
Yes.
Now, for me, I operate a little bit differently because I'm thinking in my head, okay, the guy shows up like that. I sit him down, interview him everywhere like nothing's wrong, right?
I'd probably still interview him, but,
right?
I'm probably not
better
gonna hire
yet,
him.
I'd probably be the type oh shit, that's how we dress. All right, give me a second. Change up right there. Okay, we could all be bumming. Right? If you want to be comfortable, you're going to make the whole podcast comfortable, right? Fuck it. You want me in the tank top? We could be in the tank top.
Chameleon for real.
Man, show up with no shirt on. Oh, bad. I'm taking mine off too.
Because the podcast thing is more interpersonal rather than a wedding.
Oh no, I just meant interviewing.
I get what Gio's saying.
There is a lack of respect when you're not matching
the decorum.
The forum of other people, right? If you
if you walk into someone's house and they don't want shoes in their house,
and you walk
in with your shoes,
nice ass kicks,
you're disrespecting them.
On the rug, you can get that.
There's this uniform understood etiquette, right? Mm-hmm. When it comes to when you want to interview or how to conduct yourself. Even if you might meet somebody that doesn't share that, right? They don't care. Like you said, you might not care about having a collar shirt and whatever.
Yeah.
But you should go into that situation thinking that this person might care about that, or I want them to, going back to what you said, I want them to see that I care, that this is important to me, and I want to give off that impression. So if you go into it where, maybe not with a button down on, or just wearing whatever you would wear, and even if you're not trying to explicitly say that, I don't give a fuck, that's just how you dress,
it's interpreted.
That might be received that way from the other person, and you knowing that should factor into how you proceed when you're trying to get something from them.
That's why they say put your best foot forward.
Yes.
Right. If you know exactly where you're going into, exactly what's required, put your best foot forward.
Yeah, it works very well with dating, where it's we don't really date. We be approaching.
We fly around.
But I'll say when it comes to meeting women, right?
We date. you could date me for the 5 minutes I'm in front. Like for the 5-10 minutes I'm in front of you, we're on a date.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when we meet a woman, we put our best foot forward. We're still true to ourselves, but we're presenting the best version of ourselves.
Right.
You know?
The best comes with negatives too.
Some of your things are just like, they're parts of you. So it's like, if you don't like how far apart your eyes are, that's part of you.
Nothing you can do about it.
It's like, just accept it and move on. It's like, it's a unique thing that you have. Like, for example, with me, right? My teeth are not perfect. They're not straight. But women love when I fucking smile at them. There's something... You're not a woman.
You're not a woman.
Fucking, look at you, bro. No, he telling us something. He telling us something.
He's happy already. Look at that.
But yeah, they love when I smile at them. Even though I don't have perfect teeth, and there's something about that crooked smile.
That's why J. Cole wrote that song. Remember, people appreciate your beauty more than you ever know. Nobody, I got to a point where no one was really ugly.
It's beauty in the flaws.
It was inside of them that started to make them ugly to me. Because you could look at the most symmetrical face, the most pristine, model type of looking person, and the second that person makes you dislike them,
they're no longer beautiful. Yeah.
More importantly, you go straight through and you find their exact flaw that hits them in their own self-confidence.
You become disgusted by them, no matter how beautiful they are.
And the flaws is what makes.
Because like even they not look attractive.
The soul makes you ugly. Mm-hmm. If you have a terrible soul, that's really worse than your physical appearance.
But you know, that's another good point about the beauty thing, right? If you start taking the Looksmaxx thing way too seriously, you kind of dip into uncanny valley, where it's like you're doing goofy shit. Like you seen that guy? He's like an old man. He's trying to reclaim his youth. That guy on the internet, and he looks all pale and shit. You ever seen him? You know what I'm talking about?
A lot of people have taken body modification too far.
Yeah.
So he would probably just be another victim of that.
BBLs,
right? You have
I like BBLs.
You have a whole industry dedicated. They sell the insecurity, and then they sell you the solution. A lot of girls, they look at themselves in the mirror and they're okay with it. But then you see the BBL, the big booty shit, you see the guys drooling in the comments, and suddenly like, damn, my ass feels small.
Because it even happens to men, you know? Men start working out so obsessively, going back to the working out thing, because they go on the internet and they see these fucking, they feel like Chris Bumstead, fucking steroid, gear-headed, walking around looking like a fucking gorilla, and they're like, damn, I gotta get like him. And they have no idea that you can't get like him unless you're roided to the gills.
Also, the number one insecurity they sell men is height too.
Oh, height.
The height insecurity is so blatant.
Yeah, that peak. When I started to realize this shit was getting out of hand, was when that nigga broke his legs to get taller. And
bro, like, they got limb lengthening surgery now. Yeah. They got limb lengthening surgery
to break your legs.
And the thing about height is, I've seen guys taller than me.
So two guys have done it so far.
No, two. That's a multi-million-dollar industry now. Look it up. That's not just two guys. They sold that insecurity and they sell you the solution, right? Because
women do not care that much about height, and I say that because
women say it. No, they'll say it because it's cool to say. Right? They'll say it because...
Well, they never know. I say it because they never know how tall I am. They'll be like, oh, you at least 6'3". You 6'3". I'm like... like I'm 6'3".
They'll say it because it's
I'm
cool.
6'3". Yeah, sure, I'm 6'3".
Women like to tell you what's cool, but it's not a reflection of what they actually
like.
See. Because what you start to realize is I never looked at a person taller, smaller than me and felt that they were taller or smaller. It's just not something that happens in the male brain.
I don't think it's cool. Like I'll see some niggas who's huge.
That's how you carry
I'm like, dude, that guy's huge. Yeah. That's what I do.
You'll see that,
but it's not like I don't feel bad about myself.
Imagine you're talking to that 6'4" guy. He can't look you. He's fucking.
Oh yeah, I'll be like, dude, you're a.
Right, like you gotta understand, like there's.
Because that's what we thought when we were hanging out with those guys, and the dude is a fucking Greek statue.
Where I've slick on girls, I'm like, damn, you tall. I was just standing there looking like this. In her head, suddenly she just feels herself shrink, and then suddenly you grow big. Because if you take like various drugs, you'll have that experience where objects are shrinking and growing in size. If you delve in alcohol,
that's one thing drugs do. The perspective, it'll just randomly shift on you.
But you start to realize how fake that like illusion is, because nobody gives a shit. Men have not given a shit. Alexander the Great was 5 feet. He's recorded as 5 feet. You look at, okay, you dive deeper. Okay, he's 5'6". Nobody gave a shit about that when they looked at the man. That's a modern delusion.
Don't determine if this man gonna treat you right, if he's gonna be there for you emotionally, financially.
Actually, statistically,
I don't dictate his slang either.
It don't
dictate anything. It don't dictate
well,
how you look.
I mean, actually, I think the taller you are, it does.
Okay, it might. So what? You know how many anomalies are out there?
Oh yeah, I'm the anomaly. I'm the glitch.
even if it lends itself to that, you just being a certain height doesn't mean this and this, that and the third. It don't mean that.
Don't mean nothing.
You still gotta assert yourself and prove who you are as a person.
You gotta have drive. The only thing that's universal.
You gotta have drive.
Yeah.
But I mean, the other thing, it's like people. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to our beautiful viewers. You're all beautiful. I know it. I promise. But I'm not gonna sit here and lie to our viewers that physical appearance is not the most important thing in American society. Well, no, wait, let me finish. It is very important in American society. They care about it a lot. It definitely affects how you're treated, on how physically appealing you look, right? But I will say that inner beauty does not gain as people don't understand how important it actually is. Where it's like, let's say you're a guy who, on the looks rating thing, you'd be like maybe like let's say you're like a 4, right? But you fulfill every other bucket. You're a great conversationalist. You have good fashion. You know, you're all around a great guy. And not just a great guy like you're walking around like, I'm the nicest guy. I got her coffee and she didn't suck my dick. You're not one of those guys, right? But if you're like a good guy in terms like people like being around you and there's like an energy to you, you're going to pull. You may not be able to pull a dime, but you're going to pull a couple of 6s, a 7, you know?
You got to think like if I had, picture I was 6'6", everything, money, everything. Let's pretend that I was world renowned, everything. At what point are the majority of people I meet shallow? It would probably be damn near all of them. The advantage is if you're sturdy in yourself, you get to meet solid, where you can actually build on solid ground. You get real friendship. You get real interaction.
That's actually good. That's the other point I was going to make.
So if you have it all, you're going to run in all that seeks to take.
Because I'll tell you what, I don't think I'm the most beautiful guy, but I think I'm the most beautiful. No, I don't think I'm the most beautiful guy, right? But I do think I'm a decent looking guy. And I will say that it doesn't matter because, like, for example, with women, when a woman gets with you only because you are physically attractive, it's not necessarily going to be.
They treat you the worst.
Yeah,
they
not even just that.
Hard.
Once
I've seen guys.
No, because what?
Yeah.
Well, that. But also, what happens is like she doesn't know anything about you, and she doesn't care. She just likes the way you look, and then like you make a bad match. It's happened to me many times. That's how I know it's possible. They just like how you look, but they don't know anything about who you really are. Then when they start to learn who you really are, like with me, I remember this is why I used to relate to Brad Pitt so much. Why I loved him. Brad Pitt is known as like an artist trapped in the body of like a Greek god, where it's like he wants to make artistic pieces, but everyone always cast him as the pretty boy back in the day, right? So what happened to me is I would meet women and they would like the way I looked, and then like we would start dating, and then when I would start sharing my beliefs and stuff like that, they would get annoyed. It was like a kind of shut up and be pretty. It's like shut up and be pretty, like one of those kind of things, and they would get mad at me for sharing myself. And
who played Jack Sparrow?
That was Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp was another one.
Right, Johnny Depp was a prey boy.
He was a dreamboat for women.
But he, I'm sure the reason the Jack Sparrow role works so good is Jack Sparrow.
He let go of it. He let go of the thing. That's why it worked for him. Brad Pitt didn't let go of it. He kept holding on to the beauty. So you can get casted on a role, and what you find is when people cast you on a role, because you're right.
Molded.
You're very right because Johnny Depp actively sought out roles that would remove him from the pretty
so
boy
that he
aesthetic.
can be more artistic. Yeah. There is a benefit for realizing that you are of yourself, right? You get to be free. A lot of people, when they're playing that Looksmaxx game, to bring it back to Looksmaxx game, they're no longer free of what's before in the physical. Suddenly they'll pull up to a club, they'll pick whatever outfit, and they say, oh my God, I don't like these clothes. I can't have fun no more.
Yeah.
Because I can't. No more fun. No more fun. It's over. Why did I step out like this? Why am I wearing this?
I've met people like that. I know it's real. Yeah.
Right? Or worse, maybe you spill a little bit drink on your shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, end of world.
Yeah, I remember I was at a party the other day, and I put together this whole costume, and I was really, because I remember I tried making a superhero costume. Ray was there, it fucked up. Like I remember I tried gluing the shit ripped. I was like, damn. So then I made a new costume off the top of my head, went like a military commando, right? So the only pants I could find that looked like military had a little bit of an ink stain on it. But then this other girl that was with me was like, yeah, but it fits the aesthetic. It looks great. And she like fucking snapped. I was like, nice.
That's the thing. Like
nice.
A lot of that thinking about how you perceive your beauty or yourself is brought on when you look at like certain individuals now today that have gained more popularity. It was because of how they were criticized growing up. You know, like a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Whether it stemmed from bullying, whether being at home and your parents, you know, you have women that their mother told them they was too fat, or you shouldn't dress this way, or you know, the dad was like, no, you're not going out like that. Like, so all that plays a part into your development and then the way you view yourself as you get older, and you kind of lose your sense of identity or how you view yourself because you let other people's opinions become at the center of it.
That's a great way.
You get wrapped up in that social order.
That's an amazing way to put it, because it's like
the relationships you foster create that environment.
But like there's like an inner being, right? An inner you.
Yeah.
And if you get wrapped up in your physical self, you lose that inner you because you're trying to create this avatar. And it's
Remember, the only people who could look at you more than yourself. You need a mirror to look at yourself. Don't forget this. A mirror is what it takes to look at yourself. The
people
only people who can
mirror,
look at you more are other people.
You gotta go to that mirror. People don't go to the mirror enough.
You gotta go back to the mirror and say, I'm okay with this.
I'm okay.
I'm okay with this. Whatever, okay. This is this, that is that. It doesn't really bother me until someone brings it up. Yep. And the world will find a way to bring your insecurity about you. So if you're going to spend your time looksmaxing, not doing it before the mirror,
you could be the most secure person.
I mean,
you go outside, everybody gonna challenge that. They're gonna try to make you feel insecure.
Like if you're gonna make yourself look good, it has to be like with what is in your control. So it's like your hair. Then you just fix your hair a little bit. Yeah, put on some nice clothes. Find out what suits your personality, right? So like with me, I tend to like collared shirts. I want to go for like a 70s aesthetic. Sometimes I want to do like a metal thing. Like I do enjoy that too. Mm-hmm. I haven't done it yet, but I do want to do like a makeup thing and the whole like metalhead hardcore goth shit. Yeah. Like that's how I know I've become truly comfortable with myself, in that I feel like if you have like a specific look that you're obsessed with and you just want, you're like, oh, I have to always look like this, I think you're being goofy.
Right, but I feel like you're being goofy. You know, there's a couple people, they say, oh, it's just a phase, phase. And then they go on to have that aesthetic for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
But that was them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you gotta understand, there's aesthetics, there's social order, right? Because I can't show up to the wedding in my work attire, right?
Because I will say, physical appearance, like in the video, the short we're filming, that's coming soon, the short film that we're making. I feel like when you're crafting a self, it's like a creative process. You know, physical self, you're making an artistic piece. That's how I view it. So even when I remember when I first tried like a goth thing, I was like, I had fun with it because it was like a nice artistic. That's how I looked at it, right? It didn't have too much of myself placed within it. It was more of a what's the word I'm looking for? It was almost like ego death. I was becoming a character almost, and just having fun with the character, you know. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if you become so much that like it's keeping you up at night,
wrapped up in it.
Something's wrong. Like you need to, like if you're fucking sitting there injecting your cheeks and shit and doing all that Botox.
Yeah.
You need to take a step back.
The body modification industry was a death sentence of self-confidence.
I think that's what it is. Like over time, and this is a separate conversation, but like, you know, going based off of like who you surround yourself with, right? Knowing the type of people you should keep around you, knowing the people that's not accepting you as you are, right, and not quick to
great point.
You know, judge you or you know, have all these opinions about you and just let you be you, let you live.
Great point.
And a lot of like women or even guys, like they'll surround themselves around a lot of fucking superficial and shallow people that all they do every time you're around them is it's about looks. It's about damn, like I don't like how your outfit look. It's always argumentative. It's always opinion based. It's not like, yeah, we can't just hang back and talk about something else. It's always about this person or gossip or just something that is very judgmental.
Yeah, getting so obsessed with controlling that part of why that happens is because you're so obsessed with controlling your external world. And one of the things I think that happens a lot when people are obsessed with controlling their with controlling their external world is they get obsessed with the idea of money and like saving it and like budgeting, right?
Yeah.
And like I remember when I used to when me and Ray used to be together. When we were living together, right?
We were living together. Nice.
I remember Ray would see.
Tell me about those.
I had a job.
Spicy nights.
Spicy.
Okay, you didn't have to take it that far. When I was working a job where I was working like 60 hours and I would get paid overtime all the time. I think past 60. Sometimes I'd work like 70, like a lot of time. And I was raking in mad money. But then I remember what I would do, and I'm not even exaggerating, maybe like 90 to 9, I think it was 90. I think it was exactly, I'd put away 90% of my income. So like I never spent any of it, right? And I was so obsessed. So I'd put away 90 and obsessively budget what I was spending beyond that.
Yeah. And
I remember it would get to the point where it's like, I'd be like, yo, Ray, could you order the food this time? And he was like, you just got paid. Yeah. He's like, you just got paid. I was like, I'm broke. He's like, you're not broke, you just got paid. I was like, yeah, but I gotta think I'm broke. That's what I used to
That's backwards. I'll tell you the truth. You got a picture.
I have mad money, but act like you broke.
I've heard stories from older guys that you would have this person eating dog food, but their accounts were multimillionaire. But that was what brought them to that insanity. At some point of saving the money and getting these big accounts, it becomes greed. Because I'll tell you, the same people, but they sold you like, yo, you gotta get on your own. Don't trust nobody. You can't share money with your friend. Your friend be your worst business partner. Mm-hmm. Last I checked, in law firms,
all friends.
They was friends for a long
family.
The higher up it goes, the more they know each other.
It's even worse. Yeah.
Right? Because in real estate, you're trading businesses. Yep. So it's been like, all right, I don't want to lose the business. I'm gonna sell it to my friend. That's what they do.
I mean, that's exactly what I would do. Like even like I remember when I first decided I didn't want to do the podcast stuff, right? Mm-hmm. I remember I was like, oh, I'm gonna start a podcast with my sister so I can revisit it in the future. I remember thinking that to revisit it. I was like, if I ever want to use the idea again, I'm doing it, but with my sister. Yeah. It's like you give something to someone else. It's like that's how you do. You keep it within the family or within the group, right? And I mean, the thing is, I remember telling Ray about this. There's this show called Extreme Cheapskates, right? I'm pretty sure this show is fake. Only because some of the things are so extreme and stupid.
Yeah, a lot of shows.
Like I remember there was one guy who went in the garbage and took out like lobsters or some shit, and he was like scheming. I was like, and he used the shells, but he cleaned them. I was like, no. People would have gotten sick because you went through the fucking garbage. I was like, no.
No, they actually would have been fine. That's the craziest part because I got friends.
Wait, but let's get into that another time. But I do know what you're talking about. But because let me tell you something. This guy on the extreme cheapskates, right? He was trying to become a wrestler. She was so funny. So like, what he does, right, is he's trying to save money. He's a cheapskate. So I remember he showed up for his wrestling interview, right? And this shit was very fake because they had fucking Kurt Angle. They had like all these famous wrestlers. I was like, why would they be there? I was like, what the fuck? But whatever. So he shows up to his wrestling interview, and instead of getting laces for his shoes, he fucking taped them up with clear tape too, clear fucking tape around his shoes, and like he looked like, dude, he looked like. That's not even saving money. So that he goes up, he shows up, and I remember he's talking to the guys, and Kurt Angle's like, dude. you trying to save money on your shoes? Is that why you taped them up?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm trying to save money." And Kurt Angle's like, "Shoestrings are 99 cents, brother." And I started dying. I was like, and then he gets up, and like this part is also very hilarious because when he gets up to do his like little demo, the way they cut the video is just him getting his ass kicked for 5 minutes. I was like, damn, these niggas are assholes. I was like, I know wrestling is not real, so I know he wasn't actually getting hurt, but they trying to make it look like he's getting hurt.
Well,
I was like, why y'all?
Has a good career.
I was like, why y'all doing him dirty like that? I was like, isn't this his episode? I was like, what?
Let's make sure we cover the last part for the last 5 minutes because investing yourself relates exactly to that.
Yeah, exactly. So like what happened, is of course they rejected him because dude showed up with tape on his fucking shoes. And yeah, it's like the thing is money is meant to be used. It is spiritual. It is meant to move around.
Can't take it with you.
Yes.
You never see a U-Haul riding behind a hearse.
And the best way to invest money is like you said, within yourself or to invest your time. You use money either to make things convenient for you so that you can free your mind up to worry about things that are important, or you spend your money to gain skills, things like that. Like, you don't just hoard money like it's dragon's gold. Like it's not going to do anything for you because even when I saved all that money, it did help me, but and this is what I noticed that made me realize this. It only helped me once I used it. Because I remember when I wanted to quit that job, I could sit my ass down and apply to jobs with ease and comfort.
Park your ass in
because I had all that money sitting there, right? But, that's how it helped me. But only once now I was cashing the check.
Yeah.
But just having it sitting there, it did nothing for me. It just made my life uncomfortable. So I was sitting there trying to, because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like it. I didn't like living like a fucking homeless person. It wasn't fun. But in my head, I had this idea of being the high value man. Yep. I gotta sacrifice the current moment for the future. That's what I was thinking.
The future's uncertain. The money today you have. When you hit a point where you have everything you want, the only thing you can use money for is growth. They've sold people the illusion that if they keep playing their game where they invest the money, half these people don't even know what they're buying. You'll just throw in the S&P 500, you'll throw it into all their games, not understanding the foundation of the games at all. The foundation of the game is people with more money get the power over you. So if you're going to play that game, I can empower myself by taking that same money, buying a fucking book that's going to teach me a new language.
Investing in yourself,
I could take that same money, end up in a club somewhere drunk, and have an experience that changes me for life.
Maybe not that one, but
I'm gonna say it's possible.
It could happen though. It could happen.
That's probably not the best use of money. I could take that same money.
But I think the main takeaway from that is that you got to use your money and to put it into something.
Because what is that? What is that?
People are scared, like how they say, scared money don't make no money. Like you gotta invest, or you gotta put it in something where you're okay with losing it, but the gain. What do they say? They say sometimes you gotta lose something in order to gain.
Yeah, but what is no? Because he knows who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What does Alex Hermosi said the number one investment is? Remember, he's always talking about this.
Number one investment. I can't remember.
Oh, investing in yourself.
Oh,
right. He said stop investing in stocks and invest in yourself.
They'll know that. All the rich people know that, but they know. All right, I want some Diner Dash, fucking Uber Eats, whatever company you name, DoorDash, whatever company you name. You're paying someone to cover your lack of preparation because you would not have to do that if you had your fridge stocked. You're like, okay, I got the skills, I got chef it up right now.
I mean, sometimes you know how to do it, you just be lazy.
I'll say like
laziness.
I'll say
is investing in yourself because maybe I'm reading a book. I say I don't want to distract myself from this. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm like,
there you go.
Or I gotta take the train. I don't want to run into these train people. I don't want to be on the subway. I'm gonna Uber somewhere.
Yeah.
You have to realize that
because
the South is all you have to preserve, and money is
exactly. Because that's a very good point. Because it's like, let's say you're starting a business and you want to maximize all your time. Then you probably start doing like the meal plan shit because it's like
how many home renovators don't know how to fix anything, but they're able to capitalize on being able to pay someone else to get it fixed.
Do it. Yeah. You gotta know when to use money. Yes.
When you take your life into your own hands, you gotta take your life into your own
Your
hands.
Money gives
Anything
you
you want to do, you're capable of doing it.
Yes.
If I want to walk to Papa John's to get some Papa John's, I can walk to Papa John's and eat the pizza
But
there.
if I want to sit here and read this Buddhism book and not walk to Papa John's, I'm gonna pay somebody to get that Papa John's for
exactly,
me.
because maybe that book is more important.
Yeah.
Money will afford you this life of convenience.
You gotta know when to leverage it.
Where,
But I'll say,
you cut off on time.
generally speaking, I feel like there are probably 4 tenets. Yeah. Come on, take it easy, buddy. I'm wrapping it up, man. Come on.
Yeah, we gotta go a little bit over time.
It's like I feel like there are 4 tenets that we kind of covered. I feel like for a good life, well, 5 tenets actually. I'll say like developing meaningful connections, treating your body as a temple. So like meaningful connections, socializing, but not just socializing for socializing's sake. Socializing with people that you find interesting and like that will actually fulfill you.
Further your life.
Yeah, but like don't do a fucking monk mode or some bullshit. That shit does not do what you think it's like. Of course, there are natural periods of isolation in your life, right? Mm-hmm. There are phases when you're gonna go into isolation that come about naturally, and there are gonna be periods when you want to be more social. Now, for me, I remember when I was out with you guys one night, and I saw this girl. I was just getting out of an isolation phase, and I remember I saw this girl. I thought she was kind of cute. So I was like, oh, I'm going to try and get her Instagram. I walked up to her, asked for her Instagram. She's like, oh, if you get me a drink, right? I remember Ray was like, oh, you shouldn't do it. And I was like, yeah, but I have the money. I was like, I didn't give a fuck. I was like, I'm just going to do it because I have the money. It's not going to break the bank for me. Ray was like, don't do it. And then we kind of went back and forth. Eventually, I didn't do it because like she went and got another friend and we walked away.
So Ray was right in that situation.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we were both right. In depending on how you look. I had the money, it didn't really matter, and I wanted to get myself back into the social game. Because in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna buy the drink and then talk to her. That was what I was gonna do.
But having to pay for a conversation, having to pay for her attention.
I didn't see. The thing is, you know me long enough, EJ, to know that I'm the kind of person that whatever the other person is doing does not really matter to me. And I always have my own like
I operate the same way. Their intentions for me don't matter because their intentions won't be fulfilled as much as mine are.
Exactly.
Woo! You have to understand that. And when you get to that point where no matter what this person intends, it will not go their way because I know what I'm doing here.
They think they accomplished the goal. Right. Meanwhile, they don't know what I accomplished.
Somewhere in that mix of I'm gonna take advantage of a sucker. Shit.
I became the sucker.
I'll let you take that.
I've done that many times. Especially when I was in high school. You know how often I'd make people think I was an idiot and then surprise them with some random shit and like, damn, you're actually really smart. And I was like, yeah, I pretend to be an idiot on purpose. I used to tell people that. Like back then I was a very Machiavellian kind of guy.
Right, but that works to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Pretending.
Yeah.
If you keep pretending, you get surrounded by fools real quick.
Yeah. I don't want to be surrounded by fools,
but you grow out of that behavior.
Yeah.
My oldest sister used to have a thing where she loved lying. She thought it was such a thrill to be able to lie, manipulate situations. She only had that because she was beautiful. And at a certain point, beauty only rocks so long. And once it doesn't rock anymore, you have no choice but to be truthful.
Yeah.
And she became one of the most honest people you know.
But so like what ended up happening is Ray brought these people in, these random guys. And it was a guy and a group of other guys. Yes, it was.
See, you might remember the story correctly. I wasn't gonna say nothing.
You might have to come on camera.
Well, all I say is he brought in somebody and they said the single most emptiest phrase in the self-improvement space. They said to me, they were like, oh, focus on yourself, bro. Focus on yourself. I fucking hate that phrase. It means nothing.
Those fucking
right? Yeah, because like whenever people focus on themselves, right? And I remember at the time I wasn't in a good space because the thing that motivated me to get into the stupid monk mode thing was self-esteem issues and ego. When I first used to do approach, I did not care. Like I told you, I was like very like exploratory. Like it did not matter. I would talk to anybody. I mean, you were there when I was doing it. When we were first doing it, I was very. I remember the joke you used to make was like hitting them with the geo thing, was just telling them whatever came to your mind. Like I used to get away with that shit, but then eventually, slowly over time, I started to care more. And then like I one night, I think it didn't go well for me, and I got like mad, and I was like, oh, I gotta level up. I gotta focus on myself, right?
Yeah. So then, you got hit a whole upgrade to your own personality.
So then I did that stupid shit. Don't worry, Ray. We're gonna finish soon. I did that stupid shit. It wasn't dumb because like during my period of isolation, I did learn some interesting things about myself and about how to go. But I will say at some point during that phase, the ache to go back and socialize with people came back, and I tried to ignore it. And because of that, that's when things started to fall apart.
You start to hurt yourself.
Yeah. So then, anyways, I remember the guy said that shit to me. It got me so mad. And I was like, the focus on yourself thing is so dumb. Because the key to being a human, right, is humans are social animals. What the fuck are you focusing on yourself for? You're meant to be a social animal, right? And then the fact is,
there's a place for it, but it needs context.
Yeah, there's
a need for it.
I remember that,
but people take it too far.
There is no self to begin with.
You remember that?
So like,
Pokemon
what are you focusing on?
That Pokemon Go, it hurt itself in confusion. They got a whole Pokemon game with this shit.
There's a need for it where you need to build, not factor in.
But that's where
all these external, factors.
But at that point,
things.
when you realize it's the case, you're no longer confused. You could hurt yourself with confusion, just like Pokemon.
Yeah. But that's what I'll say.
All
it's
this
like,
external stimuli,
Well, that's the thing, right?
Factor that out.
It's the natural. So when the natural phase for you to begin retreating inward happens, you let that happen, right? And then when it's time for that phase to end, you let it end. If you try to resist, if you try to set a specific time frame, I'm gonna do monk mode for 6 months. It's not gonna.
Even when you set monetary goals, to bring it back to the final point.
Yes.
Even when you set monetary goals, you gotta understand that you're running to worship money.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because that's
not what you.
That is the best, because that's the thing me and EJ were talking about. Because EJ recently did his monk mode for a little bit. And I remember the thing we talked about.
And now EJ talking about going to Vegas. You get to a point where you get the freedom.
Yeah, so like me and him were talking.
Monk in Vegas.
You can't. Remember what I said to you?
So much going on.
I said to you, being a monk in the city. I was like, okay, so I was saying to him that even though I identify a lot with like monk philosophy, I was like, I started to realize that you can identify with the philosophy, but not try to embody it completely.
Don't let it consume you.
Yeah, because I was like,
oh, that's my boy.
Oh shit. Yeah, because I was like, there's no way that you can be a monk in New York City, But I'll say,
to wrap up,
don't waste your time being angry. Don't lose yourself in external pleasures. Don't focus on yourself. Don't jerk off your ego. Don't spend too much time in the gym. Don't Looksmaxx. And don't save your money. Boom. All right.